It's like when your check engine light comes on and they bring out the little thing that they plug into that port under your dashboard and they read the codes. That is exactly what nutritional response testing is. If it's some structural issue that's blocking nerve energy flow, if you're putting the wrong kind of gas in the tank, nutritional response testing will give you the codes. You wouldn't imagine that you can learn from your car how to take care of your body. Remember, you are the operator of it. You can plug into that port and check engine, and that is what nutritional response testing is all about. You're listening to Breakthrough Radio from Breakthrough Healthcare in Jacksonville. I'm your host, Frank, here to report how to break through what's holding you back to achieving the wellness lifestyle you want. Join me as I help to bring you more self-awareness and assist Dr. Randy Haas and friends to help you increase your vitality, longevity, and enjoyment of life. It all starts right here with your next breakthrough. And hey, it's your host, Frank, again, here on Breakthrough Radio, right here in Jacksonville, and the party is still going. I am here to talk to you today about something very important, and if you haven't listened to the first episode, you really need to go back and listen. In that episode, I covered an overview of what really happens here at Breakthrough Healthcare, and what Dr. Randy Haas does to bring even the concept of chiropractic to an entirely new level. And speaking of that new level, I had prefaced this with the fact that sometimes chiropractic is miraculous, but it's only the beginning, as has been found with many people of the past. When we talk about the concept of the parallels of chiropractic in catering to the nervous system and making sure nerve energy can flow freely without any blockages, a point that we're going to take up in a subsequent episode, even when we consider all that, you then have to consider pumping the energy along those nerves in the first place and driving that. And that's actually what I want to talk to you about today. What we're going to talk about today is how does the energy get onto those nerves in the first place? And what is nutritional response testing, NRT? We touched on that in the first episode, and you really need to have a good overview of how the body works, how it functions, to really track with what we're about to talk about today. So if you haven't listened to that first episode, make sure you go back and give it a listen. It's 20 minutes, well worth your time. You'll probably learn more in that 20 minutes than you have your entire life. And you can mark my words on that one. So let's get into it today about nutritional response testing. So Dr. Randy is actually one of a select number of chiropractors nationwide and worldwide accredited to do NRT, nutritional response testing. And today what I want to concentrate on is not the word nutritional, but I want to concentrate on the word response. What response are we talking about? Are we talking about, hey, eating some food and having a great reaction to it? Or are we talking about eating tainted food and having a terrible response to it? No, that's not the type of response we're talking about. We're talking about testing the system. We're talking about when chiropractic frees up nerve energy by removing blockages to that energy flowing along the nerves. Once that's all free, what actually puts the energy on the nerves and impels it in the first place? Nutritional response testing uses that system to test how well that energy flows along those nerves and helps isolate what may be causing it, even if there's an actual physical blockage to those nerves. But sometimes there's a blockage in terms of the energy being propelled. Now, the analogy that I gave you in the last episode had very much to do with a very fine-tuned machine of a well-working, in great repair automobile. And we talked about you can have the best automobile in the best condition in the world, completely ideal down to its last blueprint point, and actually have it not run because there's no fuel in the tank, or you use the wrong type of fuel. And this is what nutritional response testing has to do with it. Let's talk about the word response. Nutritional response testing is very similar to a subject called reflexology. And the only reason I bring up that subject is because of the word reflex. When you think of reflex, what do you think of? I know what I think of. You go to the doctor to have a physical since you were a little kid. The doctor taps with the rubber mallet on your knee and you watch your leg kick out a little bit. That's a reflex. But a reflex is a response. Now, I actually looked into this a little bit. I wanted to know for sure exactly what that phenomenon is. And what I found out was it's very related to what chiropractors do with nerve energy flow and blockages to nerve energy flow. Remember, it's the same electricity that's flowing through the lights above your head right now. The same electricity that's powering the device that you're listening to this on. That electricity. Blockages to that flow are what cause all kinds of problems and breakdowns in the body. The body is an intricate machine. It's a complex machine, but it's very simple if you understand it in what its systems are supposed to do, and you can understand the concept that all you need to do is put those systems in communication with each other, have them talk to each other back and forth, and allow them to talk, to have a conversation, to let them know, hey, I got the message. I did what you said. It's done. What would you like me to do next? This is the concept that chiropractic is based on. So when you take that and you start looking at reflexes, reflexes are a test of that system. When the doctor's tapping your knee and your leg kicks out a little bit, it's showing that they're on that pathway, that energy is happening. What you don't see is there is an electrical stimulative response that's happening there, not just your knee kicking out, but when he taps your knee, instantaneously and faster than the eye can see, an electrical impulse goes back through the spinal cord up to the brain and back down to kick the leg out to make the response. It all happens in less than a second, less than a half a second, a millisecond, a nanosecond if you look at it, and you see how far these things go. So this is what nutritional response testing has to do. Now, when you go get a physical, that's all well and good for them to test that. And the standard has become, well, do you have that little reflex? Okay, your body's fine. But when you consider the hundreds of different processes and the thousands of neural pathways in the body, each one going to different functions, even at cellular levels, you're talking about an uncountable number of processes that have to occur, and you're testing one. So it's literally like 1 in a million. Now, nutritional response testing is very specific. Now, electricity, let's talk about basic electricity for a second. Electricity involves circuitry. What does circuitry mean? Circuit just means making a circle. For electricity to flow, there has to be a completed circuit. It has to go in a circle and travel in a circle. If you break that circle, electricity does not flow. So you have to make a circuit. That's what circuitry means. The human body is set up as circuitry. When an impulse goes down from the brain to some organ or body part, that body part can give feedback. It's the same way when the knee gets tapped, a message goes up to the brain interprets it, and then sends a signal back. That's a completed circuit. Nutritional response testing actually tests the circuitry of the body to see if a circuit is being completed. It tests to see if the messages are getting through, and not only does it test to see if, but how well they're getting through, the quality of it. So you're looking for a quantity of energy, and you're looking for a quality of energy flow. And that's what you're doing when you're looking at nutritional response testing. Now, how is that done? It's very similar to the mallet being tapped on the knee. The doctor is actually taking a normal muscle response in the body and then using a very specific system, contacting different points of your body to see if a completed circuit is being made and if that energy is flowing. And it's actually a very simple process. Now, without understanding this basic circuitry, I got to be honest with you, to the innocent bystander, it would look like magic is being done. But when you experience it, you start to understand it a little bit better. But only when you understand how circuitry works and how the body has its own circuits will you truly understand that circuitry and how it works. And that's what NRT does. That's the power of NRT. So it takes chiropractic to a new level. Now, chiropractors actually can do a lot from just touching the body, making contact with the body. It's called palpation. It just means putting your hands on the body to determine structurally what's going on. Now, in a future episode, I'm going to be talking about symptoms that you can recognize yourself and actually a test you can do on yourself to recognize that basic structure. And that basic structure does have its own form, and that basic structure has its own principles that go along with it, and you can interpret those things. That basic structure can actually interfere with body function as it starts to interfere with that circuitry. That's what chiropractors deal with. But considering you've removed all barriers, and whether or not those are barriers or not structurally, physically, or whether it's do you have enough gas in the tank or the right type of gas in the tank situation, either or will come up in nutritional response testing. And that's the miracle of it and why we're talking about it here first before even chiropractic, before even straight chiropractic, meaning actually removing the physical barriers to the energy flow. Because nutritional response testing, now let's look at the word testing. It's like that annoying thing when your check engine light comes on in your car. When that check engine light comes on, what do? I know what I do. I go to my mechanic. I have him read the codes, and they bring out the little thing that they plug into that port under your dashboard, and they read the codes for the check engine light. That is exactly what nutritional response testing is. It doesn't matter if it's some structural issue in your body that's blocking nerve energy flow, or if you're putting the wrong kind of gas in the tank. Nutritional response testing will give you the codes. It's like getting a list of codes for your check engine light. Now, you wouldn't imagine that you can learn from your car how to take care of your body. But remember, this body is yours. You are the operator of it, and you can plug into that port and check engine. And that is what nutritional response testing is all about. So that's what I want to recommend that you look into. And your homework assignment for this episode is, if you haven't been tested, then you need to be tested. You need to experience this, because this will prove to you conclusively what's going on and will allow you to have better control over what to do in the future. It'll also give you something stable to measure everything against that people are telling you, whether you're reading it on the internet or some doctor told you or some specialist told you, or your friend who said, well, you should do this, and your social media feed said you should do that. The best way to sift through that is to be self-aware. And a way to be self-aware is to be tested yourself. Because once you see that measuring stick, it's all downhill from there, because when you look at the sea of information being recommended to you, you know what's right. And you automatically know what's right. You know how to get that check engine light turned off and the car operating exactly the way it should. A high-performance vehicle, and that's what your body should be, a high-performance vehicle for you to have a prosperous and enjoyable life. So if you haven't had nutritional response testing yet, you owe it to yourself to get tested. Have Dr. Has test you. Call the office now and find out how you can do that. Now, if you have had it done, it depends on how long ago you had it done. It could have been last week and something could have changed. So nutritional response testing is not a one and done, right? How annoying is it when you finally get all the repairs done and your check engine light goes off, and a few days later it comes back on? Have you ever had that experience? I know I have repeatedly. But just as anything else can happen, you could drive off the lot after you repair your car, hit a pothole, jar something loose, and develop another problem. That's how life is. That's how the body is. And you owe it to yourself to make sure that every time that check engine comes on, that you read the codes, that you get tested, that you find out how is that circuitry working. And in the case of nutritional response testing, it may be a physical structural problem that's causing a blockage, that's being a roadblock to that flow. That's like pinching the wire, not allowing those communications to flow along it. Or is it the energy being supplied in the first place? Is it that fuel in the tank? That's what you can do repeatedly, and that's what everybody should know. So do yourself a favor, contact Breakthrough Healthcare right now. And hey, have your friends and family listen to this episode. Get them to understand what nutritional response testing is, because you know what? Just by doing that, you can help someone else figure out what their check engine light is, what's going on with them, and you can lead them to a better life by helping them figure out, all right, what choices should I make? Which choices are the right choices, and which choices are the wrong choices that are being presented to me now? You can help your friends and family think for themselves just by getting them to listen to this episode and getting them to contact Breakthrough Healthcare and have Dr. Has examine them. So call us right now, 904-260-1993. You can contact us on Facebook and reach out. You can even go to breakthroughhc.com and find out more information about the office. But the bottom line is, get tested with nutritional response testing today. That will open the door to you doing everything you ever needed. That's all I got for you today here on Breakthrough Radio. I've got a ton for you in upcoming episodes. By all means, if you haven't listened to the last episode, go back and listen to that. It will give you more insight, and then re-listen to this one. And hey, listen to each of these episodes repeatedly. You'll find that depending on what your situation is with your body right at that moment in time, you'll get something totally new out of it that you never understood before. And share it with others. We're looking forward to seeing you here and in the practice. So for now, on behalf of Dr. Randy Has and the crew here at Breakthrough Healthcare, this is your host, Frank, saying, I got to break out of here. Here's wishing you your next breakthrough. And until your next breakthrough, keep it tuned right here to Breakthrough Radio Jacksonville. I'll see you in the next episode. Be good. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Breakthrough Radio Podcast, a broadcast wellness production powered by Breakthrough Healthcare. Executive producer and host, Frank Sardella. For more information, visit breakthroughradiopodcast.com.